Michael Phelps, Marion Jones, Lance Armstrong, Dwayne Chambers. I'm sure you've heard of these professional athletes. Well, did you know that these professional athletes were banned from participating in sports activities due to drug use and were forced to return their titles? According to the NCAA, the purpose of drug testing athletes is to, quote, deter athletes from using performance enhancing drugs, and it impacts the eligibility of athletes who try to cheat by using banned substances, end quote. Drug tests are performed to stop athletes from taking drugs that can tamper with their health both physically and mentally. As athletes with a lot of pressure and responsibility, athletes are unfortunately more susceptible to drug use, whether it be steroids or stimulants before a game or recreational drugs after a win. All athletes should be required to pass regular drug tests to participate in athletics. First, I will talk about how drug testing stops illegal drug use. Then, I will discuss how it controls health risks. And finally, I will look at how it promotes fair play by obliging safety concerns. First, let's get into how drug testing stops illegal drug use. First, drug testing can deter performance-enhancing drugs. And second, create a drug-free environment. The biggest reason to test students athletes for drug use is to prevent the use of steroids, hormones, and other performance-enhancing drugs, all of which are forms of cheating. Without drug testing, student athletes are free to use performance-enhancing drugs to their advantage, and they're ultimately rewarded for their drug use. Drugs such as androstenedione are used to enhance strength and to build muscles. The drug used by athletes has increased more than ever today. Drug tests must be done on athletes for various reasons, and it helps to stop illegal drug use. An athlete with a positive test can be suspended from their team or lose their scholarship. But the ultimate purpose of drug testing is to help students, not punish them. By creating a strictly drug-free environment, schools are doing what is best for their students. According to PSIBackgroundCheck.com, staying and playing clean keeps athletes healthy in their sport and in all other aspects of their life. From scholarly to social to professional, it also improves their chances throughout their recruitment process and helps them as they pursue professional sports careers. After examining how drug testing stops illegal drug use, we can take a look at how it controls health risks. First, athletes put their lives at risk after the backfire of using drugs, and second, drug testing will prevent athletes from turning to drugs to cope with their stress. According to ScottsdaleRecovery.com, one of the best drug rehabs for athletes is the Arizona Addiction Recovery Center. When athletes become weak and they are criticized due to their failures, which may bring them to anxiety, stress, and even depression. Therefore, many athletes consume steroids to increase their performance. Some of them may not be able to cope with the consequences that these drugs bring on them. It also can create lasting, far more serious health consequences for these athletes down the road. As drug testing methods become more advanced, athletes have uncovered innovative techniques to avoid the detection of illegal drugs, which is a risk to their lives. Athletes overdose on certain performance-enhancing drugs to perform better and win games. However, in order to retain the integrity of sports events and protect athletes from the adverse effects of drug consumption, anti-doping authorities test players before every sports event to ensure that they don't get into illegal activities. Now that we understand how drug testing controls health risks, we can discuss how it promotes a fair play by obliging safety concerns. First, drug testing can help athletes maintain a good reputation, and second, prevent addiction. Athletic teams are often the faces of their universities, and student athletes often hold a lot of responsibility and influence among their peers and community. They bring in news coverage, revenue, and other recognitions with every game or event in which they participate. Because of this, it's important for athletics departments to provide a good image for their schools. When an administration uses a medical records tracker, they can be sure that every student athlete works to uphold that image by being safe, healthy, and drug-free. This not only creates a better influence for the community surrounding the school, but also boosts the school's reputation in its division or conference. Professional as well as amateur athletes are expected to compete with others in a fair way to abide by the rules of the game. However, when an athlete consumes steroids to enhance their performance through illegal means, it raises questions on the integrity and reputation of the game. ScottsdaleRecovery.com states, drug testing techniques were introduced in sports to promote fair play. It ensures that no athlete enjoys an unfair advantage over other participants who are trying to win the game without implementing unfair tactics. One of the biggest risks of drug use is addiction. which is a harsh price to pay for improved performance. If student athletes know the consequences of using drugs, then they will be less tempted to resort to them. Drug testing student athletes is a useful preventative measure even after their season is over. Athletes who know they have to submit drug tests are less likely to partake in these substances, and they're also far less likely to cave to peer pressure from their friends. Sports and athletics is all about fair play. It is unfair to the players who genuinely have the strength and muscle to participate in events if people start taking drugs illegally. Taking drugs and obtaining artificial strength questions the integrity and reputation of the sport. To wrap up, first I talked about how drug testing stops illegal drug use, then I discussed how it controls health risks, and finally, I looked at how it promotes fair play by obliging to safety concerns. And overall, I believe that all athletes should be required to pass regular drug tests to participate in athletics. By enforcing consequences and encouraging health and responsible decisions, athletic teams help their athletes grow into young professionals and set them up to achieve great things in whatever fields they enter. Thank you.